flattering. I'd heard of Salamander Timberwolf Ryder before I had even decided to go to middle college. He was one of those teachers who, when I was still deciding whether it was a good decision to go to middle college and leave my friends behind, was touted as one of those teachers who would ask a lot of you, but would return in kind. And of course, I pictured what we might call a portly gentleman, the kind of guy who would smile at you with old eyes and drop pearls of wisdom in the form of notes he would write on your term paper. I wasn't expecting a surfer dude. It turned out that he was neither portly nor maybe a colloquial gentleman, and maybe he rarely wore shirts and his button-down, slacks and a button-down shirt. But he certainly smiled a lot, and the pearls of wisdom that he dropped littered the whiteboard and our note cards and my mind. I asked him once, after he told us a story about surfing and his fear of sharks, whether he was afraid of sharks because he surfed, or if he surfed because he was afraid of sharks. He told me it was a good question, maybe a little bit of both, but it wasn't really about the sharks anyway. Not really sure what to make of that. I smiled and nodded, and that's how I spent most of my time in his class. Grinning, chattering away, trying on new ideas. And meanwhile, he would walk around the classroom and open the blinds to show the world his masterpiece. A class of 90 students who actually had something to say to each other. That's his mission. Don't be fooled into thinking that he teaches humanities. I don't think either word does his work justice. He's a self-proclaimed facilitator, not just a teacher. He facilitates discussion and the breaking of boundaries, and he refuses to teach anyone for fear of suggesting that he knows the truth, or that such a thing exists. And as for humanities, well, who better than someone so approachably human to teach us, help us teach each other about the human struggle to balance eros and logos. No endless slideshows of art hanging in museums, or literature about the differences of world culture from this guy. Just his charisma and his endless dedication and his insights, distilled and presented with a kind of awe at the world that borders on optimism. It's actually the kind of thing you can see on his face. I did when I saw him running down the streets a few weeks ago. I don't know what he was doing. He could have been out for a mid-morning jog. He could have been pushing some personal boundary. He could have been chasing down a bus. But there he was, barreling down the street with this huge grin on his face that said, life. And that's the pedagogy of South Rider. So if you'd like to come up.
I left out one very important introduction. Tamara Emmert, also from our Middle College and College Now programs, is also joining us.
I want to take this moment to thank a couple of people on the De Anza campus, without whose help our program would probably crash and burn. They help us in things that our students don't ever see, but help us in everyday things like helping you get the classes you need, and helping us get classrooms to teach in, and sometimes just giving us chocolate on Thursday afternoon when we're not going to make it to Friday. So we have a couple of Shirley Schuler and Marilyn Boye. Were you here? Could you stand up for us? Like, oh, it was really good, but sometimes it was hard. And when she went on to explain what she meant, it made perfect sense. Sometimes we love each other, and sometimes we want to throw chalk at each other. Her name is Ashley. She is an avid bowler, and she is a fantastic person. Come on.
Just for a second, I want everyone to look at the people around you and smile at them. Just cherish this last moment we have together, because this is probably the last time we'll all be together as one big family. I'm going to miss my second family here at De Anza. As we go our separate ways after today, we will say we'll keep in touch, but in reality, most of us won't. So just cherish this moment. Coming to middle college was a big decision for many of us. When we first came here, we were all looking for something new. What we didn't know is that we would be finding, or that some of us would be finding friends for life. The people that I've met here changed my life for the better, and they've opened my eyes and mind to a new way of living. Before coming to middle college, I used to think negatively about life. I felt like everything was going against me. I learned through the other people's experiences at middle college that I was just being melodramatic. I realized that things happen for a reason and you just need to accept them. You shouldn't hold a grudge and you shouldn't think the world's out to get you. At middle college, every one of us became part of this big family. We disagreed at times, but in the end, we were always there for each other. We were all like siblings who argue about whose opinion was right or how something should be done. But when you get a bunch of smart, diverse people together, then you will always have these differences of opinions. Sometimes we all didn't get along, but outside of class, things were forgotten and we were all able to be friends. Here at middle college, I learned how to really care. While being at my home high school, I didn't care about missing class or what the teachers thought of me. But now I do care if I miss class, and I do care what my teachers think of me. Deirdre, Heather, and Ben all care if we succeed in this crazy world. And since they care so much, it makes it so that I care about being here every day. They took a chance on me, and I don't want to let them down. When I first interviewed for middle college with Deirdre, I was really nervous, and I think my mom was just as nervous. I felt like my whole future was riding on this interview, and I'll admit, I bombed the interview. I feel like I didn't answer the questions right, and some questions I didn't even answer at all. I was crushed. Once again, I wasn't helping myself succeed. Going home, I decided I was tired of letting opportunities pass me by. And I decided that I was going to email Deirdre and ask for another interview. And she let me answer the questions with how I really felt, and I ended up being blessed with the opportunity to come to middle college. Here at De Anza, there were times where everything seemed too difficult. The homework was piling up, projects were due, and papers were needing to be written, and giving up just seemed so easy. But what really gave me the drive to continue was that I took a spot from another person, and someone else could have easily gotten the spot, but I was given the opportunity, so I couldn't just give it up that easy. I learned with anything you do in life, you should never give up.
When our next speaker came to us last year, we knew that he was really bright. But what we didn't know is that he would also be one of the most impressive tutors that I've ever had the chance of watching in tutorial. He has this ability to take really complex concepts in math and make them something that even the most difficult student like me could understand. I ended up learning a little bit about trig and a little bit about teaching while watching Tim Maxwell.